So I'm just gonna introduce myself. My name is Eddie Omega. I'm with Royal Alberta College. We're heading this project to try to teach students about budgeting. I have here with me today Tim Roden. Did I get it right?
Yep, yep.
Perfect. Tim, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
I've been teaching high school for over 20 years. I teach mathematics, some business education, some career and life management stuff. Over that course of those years, I've taught budgeting within various aspects of those. I do some accounting and bookkeeping on the side, so I understand the expenses and income and the effects of having a good budget.
Perfect, perfect. Sounds like you're the perfect guy to be talking to today.
Maybe not perfect, but I'll see what I can do.
Close enough, right? Implications to post-secondary life.
Many of you are new to budgeting, and the concept of saving money is not second nature to you. When you're younger, somebody else did it all for you. The concept of having to save money and hoping to save money are two completely different things. Having to save money is now intimidating. When we're younger and we hope to save money for a new comic book, if we didn't get there, we didn't get there, we got it next month. Now we have to save money for our rent. We have to save money for groceries. So yes, it becomes very intimidating. And when we start off, this process is uncomfortable. It's about what you can't do. And it's about things that control us. And those are things we don't like. So we need to be able to get comfortable with this so it becomes second nature and it becomes part of us as opposed to something imposed on us. Consider when you receive your money. Do you get paid once a month? Do you get paid bi-weekly? Do you get paid weekly? Do you have more than one job? Do those jobs pay you at different times? Understand when you get your money in. Likewise, think about what you spend your money on that you must spend your money on. Rent's due at the end of the month. Utilities are due at the end of the month. When are your subscriptions renewed? When do you buy your bus passes? Think about when you buy your stuff. Groceries can be bought at any time during a month. Healthcare products can be bought anytime during a month. Your phone bill comes at the end of the month. You know how much it is. You can pay it early. Your bus passes, we usually buy them at the end of the month, but they're usually bought available for purchase a couple weeks before the end of the month. So to make your life easier, spend your money. When my money comes in and I have a paycheck that equals to my bus pass, check came in, buy my bus pass. Check comes in, buy groceries and pay for the phone bill. So try to match your various incomes when they come in and spend them on items on your need list when they come in. That way you don't have to save money, but you're matching your income and your expenses together. That minimizes the need of having to worry about saving that money. And more importantly, you can't overspend it because you immediately paid for your needs. So that is one step I think that can help you along the way of not worrying about having to spend things, but match that timing between your money in and your money out. Filling your gas tank before it's empty is another way you can do this. Little things like that where when you get paid, buy something that's important. Not, hey, I get payday, let's go out. It's, hey, let's payday, let's pay our bills. Now, here's another trick or another secret. If you get paid bi-weekly and we have a monthly budget, bi-weekly means you get paid 26 times in a year. A budget based on monthly means 2 of those months in the year you get 3 paychecks. You now have 2 extra paychecks to put in your savings, 2 extra paychecks to buy those things that you know are been saving for, to buy the gifts that you know are coming up, to use that long-term goals and put that money in your funding or use it for the emergency funds. So twice a year, you have that extra money that you can do things with. If you're in the service industry, you get tips. Tips is different people do different things. Try the one that works for you. If you just get a little bit of tips and you don't get a lot of tips, throw them in a jar and forget about them if you get cash tips. If you get tips occasionally added into your paycheck, ignore them. Pretend they're not there. That money will slowly build up. Now, if you get lots of tips, 2 choices. Put your money in the bank from your paycheck and live on your tips. That way your wants will vary with as your tips vary. You'll spend more, you'll spend less, but your base necessities are covered. Or put your savings your tips in the savings account and live on your paychecks. Putting your tips in your savings accounts will vary how much you save month to month, but that paycheck then guarantees you a certain level of want. If your base needs exceeds your incomes, like I mentioned before, that means a change in our life. get a roommate or a second roommate? Do I take the bus or get a more economical car to lower my transportation? Groceries. We need to redefine maybe your food. Is it eating out? Is it fine dining? Is it just groceries? What are you buying at the grocery store? So things like that, the small things. But make sure it always, always, always that you're eating healthy. Don't cut things down that way. Now, your budget is not as big as you think it is. And I need you to think about this. Housing, food, and transportation are somewhere between 70 and 65% of a person's budget. Once you decide where you're going to live, how you're going to travel, and establish your eating habits, most of your budget is done for you. Add 10% to your savings, and now you're only left with 25% of your budget. So imagine you bring home after tax $1,600 a month. $1,200 that is already spent before you get paid. Your discretionary spending is only $400. Dinner and a movie all of a sudden takes a big bite out of your $400. It's not that big out of your $1,600, but it's a very big bite out of your $400. Understanding that is the essential to understanding your budget. You're budgeting with a small amount of money, not your large amount of money. And that is one trick to budgeting that's important. Also, we want to talk about the fact that 65% of your budget, the housing, the food, and the transportation. Housing, transportation, and food, there's an interconnectedness between the two. The further you live from work, the further you live from the grocery store, the higher your transportation cost. The closer you live to work, the closer you live to school, the closer you live to your grocery store, the lower your transportation cost. If you live far away from a grocery store and your work is at a restaurant or beside restaurants, your grocery bill might be high because you're eating out a lot. If you live on campus, you might have zero transportation. If you're living in residency on campus, you might have zero food and it's nothing but housing. So there's an interconnection between the two. So if your housing is high, then the recommended 35%, it's at 40, you might have zero transportation and things are good. So look at the percent recommended on those categories as a big picture between those three, not necessarily just between an individual housing at 35 or transportation at 10 or groceries at 20, but rather look at the big picture between those three items to see how your budget lines.